Coordinator Brian Odom. Coach, if you could give an opening statement, introduce your players, please.
Yeah, sure. Just like to begin by thanking the Alamo Bowl and the staff that works for the Alamo Bowl, and what a great job that they do put on the bowl game throughout the week. You can tell that the people of San Antonio are happy to have us here. They feel very welcomed, and I knew that going in because I was part of this bowl game 11 years ago. So I know the organization and the efficiency that it's ran, and it's a top-tier bowl game. And we're excited to be here, very appreciative. Secondly, I want to give a public thank you to Alex Grinch and how he has ran the defensive side of the program over the last 3 years. The thing with that is I don't envision the last couple of weeks going as smooth on the football side of things. If that's a credit to Coach Grinch and the culture that he installed on the defense side of the ball. It's made the last 2 weeks run pretty smooth, and very appreciative of him on that. And I think a mark of a great leader is if you're not around, how does that organization run? And it's been pretty smooth on our end on the football side of things. I'd also like to thank Coach Bob Stoops, obviously somebody that I have a tremendous amount of respect for. Obviously, we had the privilege of being a player for him some years ago. Obviously kept in touch throughout the years. I know he's had to make a lot of decisions over the past couple weeks, and with him entrusting me to be able to take on this role, I can't thank him enough, just because it's great experience for me, and I'm excited to do this for this program. And also want to thank Coach Calvin Thibodeau, Coach Jamar Kane, Coach Austin Woods, Coach Will Johnson, and Coach Parker Henry. And those guys have helped me so much over the past couple of weeks. I've leaned on them a lot. And none of us could do this alone, but they've done a great job with it. On to Oregon. I think that Oregon is going to be a tremendous challenge for us on the defense side of the ball. I've always had a lot of great respect for the offense at Oregon and how they do things and how they've done it in the past. I faced them multiple years when I worked in the Pac-12 conference. They have always done a lot of things with speed. They've always had a quarterback that's been able to run the ball. But this year in particular, their offensive line is probably one of the best offensive line we played all year, if not the best. They do a great job up front. I really actually like watching the running back play. He plays very, very hard. Anybody who's coached by his running back coach, Coach Mastro, who I know personally, is going to be a tough kid, and he's going to play hard. But their backs are really good players, and obviously their quarterback is a really, really great athlete. And with that being said, he can beat you in running the ball. He can beat you throwing the ball. He can beat you distributing the ball. So the challenge in front of us is going to be huge. And then they're going to have some young receivers go out, and I know they're excited about getting those young receivers out there and doing some work in the passing game. But obviously a tremendous amount of respect for the University of Oregon football team, and I know a lot of those coaches personally, and they all do a great job. So we got our work cut out for us on game day. And at the end, just kind of want to introduce these four guys. These four guys are, one of the reasons why it's been a joy to come back and work this bowl game for these four in particular. These four are great students. Okay, they're great individuals. They're great teammates, and they're really, really good football players. And I've been blessed to be able to be around them for the last 3 years. And they'll always be close to me individually and to my family, and consider them family. But first, we got Pat Fields, one of our starting safeties. Reggie Grimes is going to be one of our defensive ends. Okay, next guy is going to be Woody Washington, one of our corners that's done an outstanding job. And then lastly, the guy that has started more games around here for me in the past 3 seasons is Deshaun White. And all four of these guys are, like I said, great teammates. They do a great job on the field. They're great leaders. But really, really have enjoyed being around them the last 3 years. And with that, I think we're good to open it up.
Thank you, Coach. If everybody could raise their hand in the front, Jenny.
Hey, Brian, could you just talk about your decision to come back and coach the bowl game? When did you come to that decision, and how did you come to that decision?
I don't think there was really ever a decision, just as long as it was worked out between both universities, and as long as they allowed it, then I was all in. I never hesitated by doing this, and I'm here to be able to go do a job and do it for the locker room and for these guys sitting right here. But there was never any kind of hesitation on my part. And with that being said, I'm excited about doing it.
Question in the second row, Michelle.
Brian, the logistics of what you're doing and what you did and where you're going is just unique. It's fascinating. It's interesting to me. Could you kind of describe that process from your perspective as individually as a coach? Being the linebackers coach and then coach DC this game, and then boom, you're going to join Lincoln and in USC.
Yeah, as far as any other institution, I think just kind of in speaking on that, I think it takes away from this locker room. I think that every bit of information that's talked about today needs to be about these guys in this locker room and how they're going to play, and all the work that's been invested in order to have this bowl game. And but for me individually, man, I'm thrilled and honored and excited to be able to be in this role. And my job is to put them in position to play well, give them the keys, and let them go get after it. So. And that's kind of what we've been talking about in terms of how things have been going over the past 3 years, the culture that's installed, and it really is very evident in times like this.
Front row, Lisa, please.
Hey, Coach Odom. It's your first time calling plays. How has that been for you? Have you leaned on? I know Coach Venables came in there. Have you leaned on him a little bit as far as calling your first ball game,
Yeah.
And also how much has, I guess, Coach Kane, Thibodeau, and all those guys has helped you as far as working on all that as well?
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, I've talked to everyone that I have on my phone that's ever called defensive play. So I've talked to a lot of different people. But on top of that, with Coach Kane and Coach Thibodeau and the rest of the guys in that room, it's been a collective group effort, and we're going to lean on each other, and we'll have obviously constant communication. And the other people that I've talked to around this, and it's the safeties and the backers. What do they like? What do they not like? What do they feel comfortable with? What's the best way to fit this? And part of that is I want them to take ownership of it too. So we're all doing this together and trying to go get a win.
Michelle, front middle there, please. Go ahead.
Hey, Pat, it just seems like yesterday you were a senior at Union High School, and your career's really flown by. Can you just talk a little bit about this game, what it means to you, and just really wrapping your career up playing with your teammates?
Yeah, and the easy answer is it's the next game, and it's a game just like any other on the schedule, and that's really I'd be lying to you if I said that. It's going to be a special game. For me, I think it should be a special game for these guys here. But again, at the end of the day, I'm from Oklahoma, played at Oklahoma. I've been an Oklahoma guy for a long time, and I want to finish it the right way, and I want to do it for the kids that's in the locker room and these guys sitting up here. Like it's to me, it's very selfish for a 40-year-old dude to sit here and talk about how special it is for me. It's about these guys.
Repeat to Pat. You wait for the microphone, please.
I think it might have been a little miscommunication. That was for Pat.
Oh, I thought you said Brian. I'm sorry. Hey, I'll just answer every question. These guys just here for looks.
Did you need the question repeated, Pat, or no?
No, I'm good. No, it's big time. I just appreciate the university so much for just helping me grow and develop as a man. And I think the biggest thing I can't emphasize enough is like the family feel that we have here. And I think Coach Odom hit on it earlier whenever he spoke. But Coach Grinch, Coach Kane, Coach Tibbs, Coach Odom, Coach Manning, all those guys here, I consider them family. And I think everybody who's been through, the Speed D era with them, consider them family because every single day they challenged us, they pushed us, they made us uncomfortable. But because of that, all the older guys can appreciate how much we've grown and we've developed as men. So, just going out in this last game with all my guys, with, my coaches, because I consider, Coach Odom, like, that's my guy, that's my coach. Same thing with everybody else. Like, I wouldn't want to go out any other way. And I think, we're going to make it one heck of a game and one heck of an experience.
Anybody up front? Black shirt front.
For Deshaun, just wondering, as a guy who's a senior, a team leader here, what have the last few weeks been like? Does this feel like a normal bowl game given all you guys have been through? And if it does, at what point did it start to feel that way?
I don't know if any of the last few months have been like normal, but I would say that for me it's been about really just enjoying the moment, embracing all the opportunities I have with my teammates, the coaches, just spending a lot of time with them on and off the field. It's as simple as that to me, just trying to make the best of every situation with this team, and we got one last one to go after, and that's the one we're focused on. And honestly, just can't wait to be able to go out there and hit the field with these guys. So,
Way to follow up in the middle.
First of all, Brian, you didn't go to Union High School.
What's that?
You went to Ada High School. I know
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
For Deshaun, for Deshaun, to lose Coach, not looking too far into the future, but it's probably been a strange transition. What you just talked about, part of it is knowing that he's the guy you've been closest to among the whole coaching staff. And after this game, I mean, he gets this moment to call plays, and then after this game, he's kind of moving on. What's that feel like personally?
It's a little confusing, to be 100% honest with you. I mean, I love Coach Odom to death. I mean, I'd do anything for him. I've tried to do my best for him, and I think that we've complemented each other very well over the years. I'm really looking forward to this last one. That's kind of what everything boils down to with me. I'm really just trying to enjoy this last experience with everyone that was a part of this team that's been so close to my heart for honestly so long. So, yeah, that's what I'm really looking forward to.
Second row side.
This one's for Reggie. With the opt-outs and stuff, you've kind of taken a leadership role here. How has that been now that you're here, kind of reflecting on this last couple of weeks as kind of stepping up as the voice of the defensive line and stuff like that?
It's been great, man. This whole transition has been kind of smooth. I think it's I've taken to the guys well. The guys have taken to me well, and it's just we all have one common goal. That's to win, to make plays, to be the guys that we came here to be. You don't come to Oklahoma to not be a dude. You know what I mean? So I think it's been great. It's been an easy transition. We're having fun.
Question, black shirt, end of the row, please.
Yeah, this is for Woody. Woody, what's it been like playing for Bob Stoops and the preparation for this game? What was your relationship with him like, if there was one at all, before, November 29th? And then also want to ask you about Isaac Stoops. What's it like having him around?
It's been great. Obviously, Coach Bob Stoops, his resume speaks for itself. So, he's been doing great things for however long. And as far as Isaac and even Drake, I kind of worked out with him during quarantine when we had the COVID outbreak. So, those are all great guys. I love Coach Stoops, and I love his family. So,
White shirt, front row.
Yeah, Pat, kind of in the same vein there. What your home state kid, what's it been like having Bob coach you? And have there been moments where you've seen Coach Bob come out instead of the guy that you've known the last 2-3 years?
Yeah, it's crazy because, I've kind of known Coach Stoops from, I guess, more of a unique position than other guys just because, me and Drizzy and Isaac, we played against each other back since high school. So I know them both as like a coach who recruited me and also kind of like as a person. But, just having him here, I think, like Woody said, his resume speaks for himself and he's like a legend. And I think the way he's came into things and embraced things kind of like solidifies him that much more as being like a legend and kind of like speaks to the type of program that we have that, we can call a Hall of Fame coach literally like off the golf course to come in and coach. You know what I'm saying? I think that speaks to, what the University of Oklahoma is. And then also as well as, seeing all the players that reached out on Twitter and support. I think that speaks to the university. But just having Coach Stoops as a coach, I think it raises the intensity, the competition of practice, and I think all of us, we kind of just want to play up to the standard that he set. You know what I mean? It's like we're playing for a legend, so everybody has to take and elevate their game to the next level. And I think he's been pretty cool with us. We got to negotiate, our curfew and all that, so he's been very cool with us. But I think the biggest thing is he doesn't really have to take it out of us. I think we want to elevate our game because we're playing for him, if that makes sense. So he doesn't even have to, come crazy. It's just everybody wants to live up to the legend status of him. So everybody's kind of taking their games to the next level.
Thank you, Pat. Front there, and then Jenny. Or second row 2 on the end, please. Back.
There you go. Brian, you mentioned all those, everybody called them by phone, talked to them by phone. What'd they tell you about calling plays?
Be yourself.
Really?
Yeah, be yourself. Let your personality come through, and a lot of it was just kind of, they know me. They know the preparation habits that I have. Trust your preparation.
Would you say it was like a couple dozen?
What's that?
How many people would you say you talked to?
Probably close to 10.
Okay, thanks.
Front row, Lisa. Yeah.
Brian, I assume Bob wasn't negotiating any curfews with you guys back in the day,
No,
was he? Okay.
no, we didn't get that in negotiation.
Just thought I'd check.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to ask Reggie and Deshaun, you guys, I think, are around some of the coaches that decided to come back for this game. What have you seen in just the challenge? I mean, they obviously wanted to be here. They wanted to coach you guys, but they're probably thinking about moving and new housing and families and, I mean, all those sorts of things logistically. Have you noticed any stress, or do you sense them sort of able to balance it all?
Reggie, you want to go first, then Deshaun?
Yeah, I'll take it. Not necessarily. I think it's more of focus on the main thing, and that's this next game. And it is a little bittersweet, just realizing that they won't be our coaches next year, but they'll still always be our family. So as far as that's concerned, man, we're just going to go out and play balls to the wall for them.
Deshaun, did you have a follow-up on that?
Not really. I really agree with him. I'll keep it at that. I agree with him.
Thank you. Front row, Michelle, please. Black shirt.
For Woody, just wondering what your early impressions are of Brent Venables, the guy who will be leading this program moving forward, and the staff he's putting together and all of that, or have you mostly been focused here on the Alamo Bowl?
Honestly, I've just been focused on this next game. I mean, kind of like Reggie said, we all have one common goal, and that's to win. I mean, but as far as Coach Venables, it's kind of like Coach Stoops. His resume speaks for itself. He did a great job at Clemson, a great job when he was here at OU the previous time. So I think as right now, I'm just trying to focus on this next one, though.
Back row.
Woody, I would want to follow up on that question. I know that you want to look towards this game only, but I got to ask you, we haven't had a chance to talk to you much. I know you're a guy that has an opportunity to move on if you would like. Do you know about your future? Is this going to be your last game at Oklahoma, or are you still trying to decide that?
No, I'm definitely coming back next year. So.
Behind you, Michelle.
Brian, this one's for you. I know this is kind of more of a news question, but those COVID-19 protocols, what are the players following? And then is there testing? What's involved with all of that?
Well, being a part of the COVID era at the University of Oklahoma was one that, the university did an outstanding job being able to get us through the 2020 season. The majority of our staff and players are vaccinated. We are masking within meetings. And other than that, we're following our typical protocols, which I would envision would be as strenuous as anybody there is in the country. And the whole point of that would be so we can play the game. Furthermore than that, you can't control what goes on 24 hours a day, especially whenever you live in a hotel for a week, and they're going to have free time. So there's some certain things you can't control, but on our end of the university, speaking for the university, we're doing, our fair share of our protocols and to ensure that this will go on.
Michelle, front row, blue.
Hey, Brian, I got a two-part question for you. First of all, we talked about the importance of quarterbacks. You mentioned it with Oregon. Can you talk a little bit about Caleb and what you've seen, his maturity grow through the season when you guys go good on good? And then also, I wanted to ask you, when Bob Stoops arrived to take over the program, do you see any similarities to how he entrusted himself with that team back in the late 90s to compare to what he did this year?
So you said this is for me, right?
Correct. That's correct, Brian.
I'm joking. Being able to go against Caleb Williams, I just, go back to spring ball. And one of our linebackers named Shane Witter. Shane's one of the fastest guys on the whole team, okay? Shane was playing a position where he would be responsible for the quarterback on the zone read. Caleb outran him to the sideline, and I was really confused I thought Shane wouldn't give him great effort because of Caleb beat him to the sideline. Come to find out, Caleb Williams runs about 21 miles an hour, so he's obviously a threat when he carries the ball. He's got a tremendous release. The thing I do like about Caleb, though, is his energy and his leadership ability from the quarterback position, and just being able to be a likable guy. And a lot of times you can kind of measure that when my own son goes up there and he goes to practice, and he goes and handshake or dap up my 12-year-old son. So, and he doesn't necessarily know that that's my son, but that's kind of who he is. So I think he's a special one. Would you say the second
Can you
part?
wait for the microphone, please, for the second question?
When Bob arrived, is there a lot of
Yeah.
similarities between the two times?
Yeah, there's a definite, in the team meetings, at practice when he's got everybody around, you definitely kind of have that same feel that we had back in the day, and his how genuine he is, the way he handles the group, the way he speaks to them, it's very sincere. He's serious about it. He wants to win, and there's no question about that. I think that he's made no secret of that, but he definitely commands the room whenever he talks.
Hey, Jenny, front row.
Hey, Brian, you mentioned in your opening remarks some of those guys that have taken on defensive duties who I think are largely analysts or doing different roles.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about how you all decided, who to pull in and how it would all be divided up?
Yeah. Well, the NCAA has certain rules about, how many people can wear headsets, how many people can actually have headsets with microphones. So Austin Woods was one of those that he's an analyst, so he was not able to wear a headset with a mic. So elevating him to be a full-time coach for this game allows him to be able to talk on the headsets during the game, which is going to be very valuable because Austin is extremely intelligent, does a great job in the box. Will Johnson and Parker Henry were already on the field assistants, so we kept their roles basically the same. Will's taken a bigger role in the defensive backfield, and Parker has taken a bigger role in the defensive backfield as well. But we've been meeting, a lot of our meetings have, whether it be the whole position meeting or portions of the position meeting, has been the whole back seven. So that's actually, I've really enjoyed that from my point of view, because I got to see how good these safeties are and the nickels are in meetings, and how they communicate in meetings, and how they are able to identify stuff in meetings. So a lot of that stuff was very beneficial for us as backers to be able to be in the same room and hear it and see it. And it's, it gets you excited every time you go to the position meeting that you're going to get feedback, and you're excited about the things that these guys know.
Front and then back.
Yeah, Coach Odom, you talked about Will Johnson, and he's a younger guy, played here. He was also, I believe out on y'all had him during the transition between coaches out on the road recruiting. Can you talk about his growth in coaching from the time, you first got here up until now?
Will's one of those guys that you knew he always had it in him, but his growth from year one to year two has been, it's been pretty substantial. The places that Will does a really great job is the one-on-one. If he's sitting there talking to a kid, talking about technique, or if he's talking to the kid watching film with them, and it's he's really, really good as far as technique, and then his knowledge of the scheme is outstanding from the back end perspective. So, but his growth, to being able to take ownership of that, and his growth as a coach, I think it's been very valuable for us as a staff, but also it's going to prove he will benefit from that in the future for sure.
A couple more in the back.
Coach, I know one of the first things we asked Coach Stoops about when this matchup came out was the last time OU and Oregon played, and I know that you know all about that as well, but curious how much these guys know about that last time in 2006, because they were all a lot younger, and just curious, has that come up much at all during bowl prep?
No, not really. I think in terms of it's our, you know, and something we talked about early on, the first time I talked to defense, you know, they're in a very similar place that we're in as a program. And now it's going to come down to our locker room versus theirs, and who's going to be more excited about being out there, who's prepared the right way over the last 2 weeks, because these guys are smart enough to know that the game in, you said it was 2006, doesn't matter. You know, it has no bearing on this outcome of this game, and they, you know, I think they've done a great job of buying into the fact of, you know, it's about what we do and our preparation that's going to determine the outcome of the game.
Final 3 questions there, and there.
Brian, with your relationship with Alex, I wonder if you could maybe describe some of the things you learned from him that you're going to impart in this game. How much, maybe as an additional question, how much is what we're going to see Wednesday night going to be what Alex's defense look like, and how much is going to have your imprint on it?
Well, we're going to see a completely different defense. Okay, we're going to run cover 0 the whole game.
All out blitz.
They said put your personality on it, so that's what. No, I'm joking. My job is to reduce any kind of stress or any kind of things that would weigh our guys down. Go out and play fast. Play the defense that we know that we've ran for the last 3 years. In terms of play calling and things that, you know, in talks with Alex over the years, you know, what's your next call, and who is now put in stress by that formation or that play call. So what person on the defense am I trying to protect? What person on the defense am I trying to hide? What person on defense in a certain situation do we want to kind of take out of the game? So there's some things that go into it. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and act like I know what I'm doing, because I haven't done it yet. So we'll see how it all goes on game day.
All right, last 2 there and there. Did you get it, Jenny? You get yours? Okay.
No, I don't.
Okay, you, Lisa. And then Brian with the last question.
Hey, Pat, obviously a month or so ago, fans of the program, you guys within the program, a lot of turmoil when Lincoln leaves. And I think when Brent got hired, there was a sort of a renewal of people's spirits. But this is the first time you guys have obviously been on the field since then. How important is it internally to play well? But do you feel like there's some impact on the larger Sooner Nation, if you will, how you guys play?
I think it's just living up to what the standard of the University of Oklahoma is, not particular to a coach or a situation or whatever. I think, you know, the university demands a high level of football play, because that's what we've done historically, even before, you know, Coach Stoops, before Coach V, talking Barry Switzer and all the legends that have came through here. Like, the standard has always been to play excellent football. So, you know, for us, we're just the 2021 team, and we're doing our part in ensuring that the standard is upheld. But I think, you know, Coach V, he demands a very high standard, and I think I'd be naive to say that, like, this game doesn't mean like a little bit more, because obviously this is my last game here. This is my last game with, you know, Coach O, my boys, and all my other coaches. So, like, I'm willing and ready to give, you know, whatever it is that I have, you know, for this game, and to come out with the W. And I think, like, there is like a little bit of emotions that are going into it. So I'm not going to, you know, negate that. But I think we've just done an incredible job of, like, keeping the main thing. And, like, we have our duty and responsibility whenever we sign to come to OU to live up to the standard that OU's created, not a particular coach or player or situation or anything like that.
Thank you. Brian, final question.
Pat, we saw you practicing your Spanish the other day and know that you were on a quest to find some horchata.
Yeah.
Have you been able to find some, or any other Mexican food?
So I found horchata last night for the first time, and then I went to La Margarita, something like that, my first night here. So.
All right, thank you, Coach Odom. Thank you, players.
Thank you. Can't speak Spanish, dude.
I feel like we all can. Bro, that's like basic Spanish.
Duh, I'm asking you how you feel.